Hello, Khan family, friends, and students. Welcome back to our YouTube channel. Today, we will be covering admission requirements for the college process. Now, overall, there is a lot that goes into college application process. So here are a few ways for us to break it down and you to see a general idea of what we can do to kind of address the application process. So first, we're going to talk about what exactly is holistic admission, go into some of the application platforms such as Common Application, and go over some important factors from high schools that colleges do look at, and as well as other factors that are specific to the college application process and what else to do from there. So first, the holistic admission process. With growing number of applicants, colleges are leaning towards a more holistic admission process, which covers a lot more than just your grades or your SAT score or your ACT score. Admission officers are seeking to learn more about you through equal consideration of your extracurriculars, essays, and interviews, along with having high test scores in GPA, of course. This is largely because there is a huge rise in overall applications at selective colleges, as you can see in this diagram below. Because of this, it is very hard for you to stand out simply through statistics, and you need to take into consideration other factors within the application process. So, in order to apply, you actually need to apply through a portal. The most common portal is called the Common App, and this main application portal is used to apply for undergraduates and transfer applications. And the application typically opens August 1st, and you can apply to a max of 20 colleges through this application. Now, this portal is the main portal that you will be using. So you can upload your transcript, your SAT scores, all your extracurriculars, all your writing supplements, everything will go on here, and then it will be sent to each of the colleges that you apply for onto their individual portals. So this is very, very important. But beyond this, we also have the Common App website, currently has multiple guided videos to kind of walk you through the process to understand how to fill out each tab. So feel free to go through that. Now, there are other additional application portals. So the first application portal is Apply SUNY, which is for the state universities of New York, such as Stony Brook and Binghamton. You can apply to these schools through the Common App, but the CUNY application, which is for the City University of New York, such as Hunter and City College, can only be applied through the CUNY application. You cannot use the Common Application or any other application portal, so be aware of that. Coalition for College is very similar to the Common App and is often used as a supplement to the Common App if you have more than 20 colleges that you're applying to and you don't have space. Be aware, though, that Coalition, there are less schools that use this portal, so check out which colleges you can apply to through this portal. So application components, the high school experience. So first, obviously, is coursework and grades. So there are three main goals you want to display to any college admission officer. One, display your interest through your coursework. For example, if you enjoy CS, try to take as many CS courses that are offered to you at your school and try to make it as challenging as possible, such as APCS or very unique niche CS electives or engineering electives. And embrace that challenging course load. If you're scared of taking a class, try it out. And see if it works for you. While that is true, you don't want it to bump your grade completely down. So be aware of that and try to find that balance between having a challenging course load, but also maintaining a good GPA at the same time. And generally, try to aim for a high GPA. Ultimately, it's 4.0 unweighted at the top, but try your very best. And colleges will be looking at all 4 years of high school. This is a common misconception that they mainly focused on your junior year. That is completely false. They look at it from 9th grade to 12th grade. So keep up with your grades during your 4 years of high school. And in order to have a variety of courses or take a challenging course load, they will be checking if you have AP courses. And if you have a lot at your school, they expect you to take a good chunk of it. IB, if that's offered at your school, honors courses. That is a great way to show that you're constantly challenging and exploring new fields. Now, extracurriculars. There are three main things you need to consider when participating in extracurriculars. Number one, show your interest. If you're interested in science, join Science Olympiad, join like a research organization. Try to show what are your interests academically and even beyond it. If you're interested in dance, feel free to join a dance club. Number two, take on leadership positions and make impacts. beyond just being a member, having that leadership opportunity shows admission officers that you want to make an impact. You want to have a big role within your community, and that's a trait that college admission officers are commonly looking for. So try to take on those leadership positions and actually do something with it. Host an event, host a fundraising, host like a service project that you can work on, or even like a passion project works amazingly. Tip number 3, be specific when describing your activities. So this is after you conduct all your extracurriculars during your 4 years. What's important is you're able to showcase what you have done in the 4 years correctly on writing in the extracurriculars portion of your application. Be specific. Don't just tell me, oh, I was a member of X club. No, I was a member and worked on creating a fundraiser for helping children who are facing autism and want to help cure themselves and trying to raise funds for that. There are more specific ways that you can do it. You can use statistics. You can use more specific ideas about the projects you worked on. Here on the side are a few examples of some extracurriculars you can participate in and try to go out there. Don't simply look in your school environment, but your community and even beyond. So outside of school, what else is important? So here's a case study. I will read it out loud. Zainab is a rising senior and is contemplating on her final college list. She plans on majoring in business or economics in hopes of either starting her own successful business in the future. She has a strong GPA and a high SAT score and dreams of attending UPenn. However, she's well aware that UPenn is a reach school and needs to consider other alternative colleges. How would she go about creating her college list? Hint, what should she be looking for at each college? So take 3 seconds and pause this video. All right, so what can Zainab do? The biggest thing is creating a college list that is balanced. Obviously, UPenn is Zainab's dream school, but you have to consider other schools that you are more likely to get into and still apply in order to higher your chances of actually being admitted to an institution. So here is a sample college list, and generally, your college list should be a total of 13 to 21 schools to remain competitive. Nowadays, it's because of low acceptance rates, it is more common to apply to about 19-ish. So take that into consideration. Now, there are 3 categories. You have your reach category, which are for schools with really, really low acceptance rates, have amazing programs typically, but it is very hard to be admitted, even if you have the stated GPA range or SAT range. Then you have match or targets, which are schools that you are very likely to get in and have admitted students before who have the same background as you. Now, safeties are schools that have very high acceptance rates typically, so around 70%, 60%, and you are more than likely to be admitted because of your background and how well you have done on your application. Now, standardized exams. So there are 3 types of standardized exams, the SAT, the ACT, and the AP. So the SAT is a scale of 400 to 1600 and a longer test that is typically 3 hours but slower pace. The ACT is a scale of 1 to 36, is a shorter test but is more fast paced and includes a science section and more geometry. The AP exams are 13 different subjects that you can get college credit, depends on each school, and you need to aim for 4s and 5s. Now, why is this important? Because of the different range of schools there are, a standardized exams often allows them to understand how well you are knowledgeable about like math and things you should be universally learning. So aiming for a high score shows that you are keeping up with it and you are able to also take on these longer exams you'll be taking in college as well. So try to aim high during taking these exams. Now, case study number 2. Zainab is an extremely driven student, but has struggled with taking the SAT exam. During their first attempt, they received a 1320. On their second and third attempt, they received a 1420. And although the 1420 is sufficient for their safety school, it falls within the lower percentile of accepted student stats for target and reach schools. Her counselor suggested going test optional, but she's unsure whether or not that will decrease her chances of getting admitted. What should Zainab do? So to answer this question, take 3 seconds and pause this video. All right. So Zainab, what should Zainab do? Now, you have to understand what is test optional. So many schools, including top 20s and Ivy Leagues, are test optional this year. Some are changing their policy. It depends, but a lot of people are maintaining this policy. And what this means is having a high test score does guarantee a competitive advantage. So even though you don't need to submit a SAT score and they say that it won't impact your application, if you do have a high test score, though, that shows a lot better and gives you a competitive advantage compared to not submitting a score at all or submitting a lower score. So therefore, even with test optional, if you're typically above the 50th percentile of that school's average SAT and ACT, submit it. And we highly recommend submitting it to help stand out with the test optional process. Now, the personal statement is one required essay for all colleges. So you choose one of 8 prompts on the Common App, which typically don't change year to year. You can check them out on the Common application. And this essay is important for admission officers to more know about you as an applicant. They want to know about your personality, who you are, and less of what we see on paper is simply beyond the resume or your extracurriculars or the grades. Who are you as a person? Be unique, avoid cliche topics, start writing in July, and make several drafts. And key idea is show how you've grown as a person. Now, supplemental essays are not offered by every schools, but are being more common as the application process does become more holistic. So these are specific to each school. So each school will have a designated number of supplementals that you have to fill out. And they do take a period of time, but they're generally only 250 to 350 words. Some examples are the why us essay. In other words, why do you want to go to this college? Tell us more about an extracurricular, design a class or major. Tell us about your academic interests. In other words, why do you want to major in X major? And diversity or in community essay. Now, 2 other important factors are letters of recommendation. So reach out to 2 teachers and advisors who can write about you well. And this typically occurs during your junior year, so you have to ask beforehand. Be prepared for this. Do not spam for your recommendations last minute, and try to find people who can speak to you about a student, or in a professional setting, or just simply as a leader or as a person. Now, sending materials, reach out to guidance counselors about sending transcripts and or test scores. This does depend school to school, but keep up with it and ask your guidance counselors with any questions at all. Case number 3, Onir is a friend of Zainab and he just finished up his sophomore year. Inspired by Zainab, he also plans on aiming to attend an institution, especially Columbia, because of its great computer science program. He has been interested in CS since the start of high school and even took APCS a year earlier than the rest of his grade. He has even taken the time to work on his own CS projects at home. However, he currently doesn't have any clubs or extracurriculars that he is part of at school or outside of school. What should he do now? Please take 3 seconds and pause this video to think about what Onir should do. All right, and we're back. So, what should Onir do? Well, first, even if you don't have clubs or extracurriculars as part of your thing at school, you should engage in them to show that you don't only just work well independently, but also within your community. They want to see someone that's social and out there. So share your projects. Onir clearly has a great interest in CS. So kind of show how Onir can express that interest to others beyond just his computer screen. And therefore, join a CS club, create a CS club if that doesn't exist. Join the robotics team, share some of your projects on a digital platform. If you're working on an application or you're working on some type of software, try to share that and be expressive about how you're working on these projects, simply beyond just saying you're working on these projects. And that's it. So that is the general overview about the admission requirements. But if you have more specific questions about how to fulfill each of these requirements when going through it, check out the rest of our videos on our YouTube channel. And that's it. Thank you so much.